Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3-Net.
Good afternoon and welcome to Friday's edition of Midday Live. My name is Bright Nana Amfo. The headlines this afternoon. Committee tasked to develop an action plan for recognizing or reorganizing the People's National Convention recommends early Congress to reposition party for the 2020 general elections. Also coming up, poultry farmers complain the unregulated importation of poultry products coupled with government's lack of commitment is collapsing the sector. And on the international front this afternoon, Zambia's President Edgar Lungu warns judiciary that there will be chaos if he is barred from standing in the 2021 elections. These are business, sports and entertainment making up the bulletin coming up in a short while. But let's start from here. Persons with disability want to take charge of the ministerial appointment that directly affect them. They argued able persons mandated to take care of their needs find it difficult to relate their issues, and this is because they are not directly affected.
Advocacy for people with special needs has become necessary since they are intellectually capable of performing similar duties just as persons without disability. Inadequate disability-friendly infrastructure have always been a challenge confronting persons with disability. A mother with cerebral palsy child shared how frustrated it is to take care of the needs of children with disability.
Once you give birth to such a child, your life ends. Unfortunately, you need money to be able to take care of such a child. Even for going to schools that are termed special schools, you pay more. Some request that you come with a caregiver and all those things. If you are not working, how do you do that? So many mothers are forced to kill their children.
A Ghanaian software engineer, Farida Nanifo Abijay, says positions in government for disabled persons should be given to persons with disability, since the able persons sometimes find it difficult to relate and put themselves in their shoes to make policies that will make life easy for them.
Most people become advocates for a cause once it affects them. It's sad, but that is the reality of it. Most of the people who are making these laws, they do not understand what we are going through. So they have an abstract knowledge, a theoretical knowledge of what it is to be disabled. But once you don't live in my shoes, it's very difficult for you to actually appreciate the challenges that I go through.
She encouraged parents to disabuse their minds of superstitions and embrace disabled children.
Children with disabilities are treated very badly due to superstitious beliefs. Some of them are left in the bushes to be killed by wild animals and all those things. And it's lack of education. And I don't think in 2017 that is acceptable.
Jeremiah Badu Shire of Special Education Unit of Ghana Education Service gave an assurance of government's commitment to make favorable policies for disabled persons, especially in the field of education and infrastructure.
In other news, a three-member committee tasked to develop an action plan for the reorganization of the People's National Convention has completed its report. The report, which is yet to be presented to the party's standing committee, recommends an early Congress to reposition the party for victory in the next general elections.
The People's National Convention, PNC, last month set up a three-member committee to develop an action plan for the reorganization of the party after a standing committee meeting. The communications director and member of the committee, Emmanuel Wilson, hinted the report is ready and will be presented to the standing committee this month.
We are just waiting for the appropriate day in this month, November, so that we can have a standing committee meeting. Then we'll present our report to the standing committee. When it is accepted, the next thing that is going to be done is that we'll present it or we'll forward it to the National Executive Council meeting, which is, the highest body aside Congress.
He enumerated reasons for the reorganization of the party.
We are no more interested in presenting PNC as an election party. So we just surface when it is an election year. We want to do the right thing by putting the structures that needs to be put in place, so that 2020 will not just be part of the numbers that will contest the election, but we are going to make a significant impact.
Emmanuel Wilson is confident an early Congress will improve the fortunes of the party in the 2020 general elections.
Practically, if you have new executives being formed in a general election year, it means that they have less than a year to prepare itself and go into the general elections. And these are some of the things that we are trying to avoid.
Will the PNC consider a measure to present a stronger force ahead of the 2020 elections?
But the mandate the PNC has per the last Congress is that we should find a possible way of going into a unity talk of any sort with the Convention People's Party and not with any other political party.
On the General Secretary, Atiq Mohammed, he said he remains suspended. Two other members of the committee are former Member of Parliament for Bolgatanga, David Apasara, and Acting General Secretary, Jacob Amakon.
Now let's turn attention to the education sector. It looks like the teacher's reward is always in heaven. That's the words of Kwame Safu Bwidi, a frustrated local chairman of the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. Lecturers in those institutions, that is the College of Education nationwide, on Thursday withdrew their services demanding payment of their 10 months salary arrears. Here is a report put together by one of the, on day one of the strike by Daniel Opoku.
Government last year upgraded teacher training colleges into tertiary institutions. Salaries of lecturers in the institutions were thereafter pegged at that of university lecturers. This compelled the lecturers to demand retention premium of 10%, but was not paid to them. They again demanded inter-market premium, but that was also not paid to them by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Most disturbing to the lecturers currently is the delay by government to pay their 10 months arrears after being upgraded to tertiary status. The aggrieved lecturers petitioned the National Labour Commission and the Finance Ministry, but the issues remain unresolved.
You claim I'm a tertiary tutor, and so even if it is category C. Category A, people are receiving theirs, that's the universities. Category B, people, that's the POTAC. They are receiving it. So how come SITA can't also have his? And it's been so bad that it looks as if the teacher's reward is always in heaven, so people don't value us.
The student body has expressed worry a prolonged strike would impact negatively on academic work.
Some classes were supposed to have some quizzes, and others too were supposed to undertake some activities, for which, because of this very strike, it's not going to okay.
Behind me are some of the students who are currently in private discussions, doing their own independent discussions, are waiting for the lecturer to come, or are waiting when lecturers will resume work. Now currently the issue is getting so troubling because I have with me a lady here. What group discussion are you having?
It's a maths group discussion.
Mathematics? Yes. What about it?
We are discussing on the methods of teaching mathematics, as in how to teach children to learn mathematics, numbers.
Yeah. But a lecturer was supposed to have taken you through this. Yeah. Where is he?
They said they are on strike, so we have to do it ourselves. We have to put ourselves into groups and then discuss this among ourselves.
Right. Now, how disturbed are you with this ongoing strike?
We are actually worried because this is the first time we have been introduced to the methodologies. But then, since most of the tutors are not on campus, I think it's going to affect us at the long run because we are not very familiar with the subject areas, and then we need the tutors to guide us through. So I think we'll really be affected without the tutors.
Right. So you realize that the frustrations are gradually increasing, and they are pleading on government to intervene immediately and pay the arrears of their disgruntled and aggrieved lecturers. Daniel Opoku, TV3 News.
Now, we're also staying with the teachers because the association says it has achieved 100% compliance by their members in their action to withdraw their services. The National Secretary of the association, Prince Obing Hima, has been speaking to Kofi Edudonfe, our Northern Regional Bureau Chief, and we have this report.
As teachers in the colleges of education, we also have future that we love. We also other people's children that huge investments have been made in us that we have to work and justify. Some of these students are going to become teachers in the colleges tomorrow. So, by and large, I believe that they are being inconvenienced today, but they support the larger picture. Fairness is the name of the game.
The ruling of the National Labour Commission on the 4th of October actually gave a 2-week ultimatum for the Finance Ministry to effect payment of the arrears. But definitely, you would also admit that it takes some time to pass through these financial clearance processes. Probably we should have given the Finance Ministry some ample time to heed to the ruling.
Let's be very straightforward over here. I believe we presented our argument before the Commission, which has got high court powers. We presented our challenges and what have you, and the Commission arrived at the decision, having examined closely the information we provided before coming out with the time frame within which the payment had to be effected. I sincerely believe that if the Finance Ministry had any difficulty doing one or two things which will make it impossible for them to pay within a time frame, they would have said so over there for at least the Commission to factor that into their ruling regarding the time frame given. So I think that all these things they are talking about, the clearance, the other processes, are processes that can go on within the 2 weeks. How many workers do we have in Ghana here? If the Finance Ministry and the Controller can, roll out all the things they have to do, validating all Ghanaian workers and all of that to pay them within every month, why can't they do for a few group of teachers who are not even up to 2,500? And what we are talking about here is not about our entire salary. It is the difference between the old and the new salary structure that we are talking about.
When or what will make you go back to the classroom?
Absolute compliance of the ruling by the National Labour Commission, by the Finance Ministry, and that can be interpreted to mean paying the teachers, salary arrears to the teachers as indicated or directed by the National Labour Commission.
And that is what the position of the teachers in our colleges of education are saying. Until full compliance is made by the Finance Ministry, they are not going back to the classrooms. In essence, the students will continue loitering on campuses awaiting their teachers in the classrooms. From Kumasi, I am Kofi Edudonfe for TV3 News.
Kofi Edudonfe is our Northern Regional Bureau Chief. There's more news on the strike by the teachers, College of Education. You can go there and update yourself. In other news this afternoon, poultry farmers say the unregulated importation of poultry products, coupled with government's lack of commitment, is collapsing the sector. Ghana currently imports about 250,000 metric tons of broiler chicken annually for local consumption. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar has been speaking with the Chief Executive of Pulse Africa on how poultry farmers can revive the dwindling sector on their own.
How would you describe the sector? Are we on a success note or we are facing some difficulty?
We are facing a huge difficulty. It's just not right. All over the world, the poultry industry is steered by broiler production. That's where the action is, because even now, if you pick a broiler chick within 5 weeks it's ready. So you can imagine turning around broiler meat every 5 weeks. So now that we're missing that channel, it's really suffocating the poultry industry. I don't think it is right, and I am challenging people in top positions who claim to be patriotic and who are still bringing in these chicken. I am appealing to them and challenging them that if they are indeed patriotic, they should bring in their money into Ghana. They should bring their money to the poultry farmers to produce the chicken for them, instead of they bringing in chicken which nobody knows where it comes from. The chicken from Brazil to Ghana takes 45 days on the sea and another week or two to clear from the port. So what are we talking about here? In terms of quality, in terms of freshness, it's just not there. And all over the place, just across the border, like Cote d'Ivoire is producing their own chicken. Nigeria is producing their own chicken. So why do we give this huge chunk of job opportunities to our friends outside there when our people need jobs and there is an industry that can provide the jobs?
Now, where are we going wrong as a country?
Where are we going wrong? In the first place, I don't think the government has been supportive enough, because I can talk about the Nigerian experience. Nigeria managed to produce its own chicken when the then president, Obasanjo, said that if Nigerians cannot produce aeroplanes and cars and things like that, chicken is walking around all over the villages, and that he thinks Nigerians should be able to produce their own chicken. And immediately he said, from that day, all chicken imports into Ghana are banned. So once you ban all chicken products into Nigeria, the people started, because then he had created a huge vacuum and people had to fill that vacuum. What we are saying in Ghana is not necessarily a total ban. We think that if government can ensure that the local industry produces a minimum of 30%, that alone will go a long way to help us as an industry.
Reviving the poultry industry. The United Nations major donors, including the United States, are to reduce aid to African refugees in the wake of the growing humanitarian crisis in Syria. The following report takes a look at the UNHCR's new campaign dubbed Luku Luku. It seeks to promote a greater culture of giving among Ghanaians to manage the continent's growing refugee crisis.
The narrative surrounding African refugees is one of dependency and aid. The Luku Luku campaign of the UN Refugee Agency seeks to change that narrative by extending the already existing culture of sharing embedded in Africans to raise awareness and funds for African refugees.
Beyond safe refuge and beyond basic life-saving needs, let's move away from the cupped hand of waiting for them to get aid. Let's see what we can to make them, because before they were displaced, they were like you and I, fending for themselves and their families.
In the advent of the humanitarian crisis in Syria and the growing Rohingya refugee crisis, the UN's major donors, with the US making up 22% of this, is determined to reduce aid for refugees in Africa in order to support other persons of concern. This creates the need to galvanize Africans to make donations to ensure the quality of lives of refugees. The campaign would engage high-level influencers in Ghana to mobilize public support. In 2016, there were 22 million African refugees worldwide. The campaign seeks to get Africans to take action to solve the continent's worsening refugee crisis and lead Ghana to become a major force on the donor table. Research has shown that refugees are large contributors to local economies. Ghana currently hosts 18,457 persons of concern across the country's 4 refugee camps. The official launch for the project is slated for November 4, 2017.
The head of Department for Public Administration and Health Services Management at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Justice Bawole, is of the view the apology rendered by the High Commissioner to South Africa, George A.C. Boateng, does not settle the matter. He spoke to Alfred Okansi on News 360 on Thursday.
I think that it's a good thing that he's actually come out now to apologize. We thought that he should have done that very early in the course of the development of this issue. And so it's I think the one good thing we can celebrate is that he's come to apologize, to say his comments were not good, and has indicated in the statement that I have seen that this is against the Constitution of Ghana. And so that's one thing we should celebrate. The other thing is whether or not this is enough to let him stay in office. If you ask me why public service ethos requires that public servants are, impartial, is to ensure that the people who come before them for service have the confidence that they will receive that service without any discrimination. And so I don't think that the apology in itself can take away the fact that people who might appear before him for service would have in their minds that unless they are able to display a certain political color, they will not receive fair treatment from him.
You're watching Midday Live on TV3. Time now to hit the break. When we come back, we have more for you. Please stay with us.
Mr. also has a problem with his radio. Lesson time! My big brother always stealing my cowbell coconut milk.
If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network.
This is Media Live. Thanks so much for staying there. Now let's jump to a development story. And we're beginning from here. A renowned Ghanaian mathematical physicist, Professor Francis Kofi Ampeyin Alote, has died at the age of 85. He died at a hospital in Germany on Thursday. Family sources who confirmed the death said Professor Alote was in good health on Thursday morning, but complained of body pains around 10 a.m. and was rushed to the hospital where he died. Professor Francis Kofi Alote was born at South Pond in the central region of Ghana in 1932. He is known for the Alote formalism. As a founding fellow of the African Academy of Sciences in 1974, he became the first Ghanaian full professor of mathematics and head of the Department of Mathematics at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He was the president of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences and a member of a number of international scientific organizations, including the International Institute of Theoretical and Applied Physics. He was also a holder of master's and doctorate degrees from Princeton University and a diploma of Imperial College. He was also an honorary fellow of the IOP Institute of Physics. The Professor Francis Alote Graduate School was established in 2009 at the Accra Institute of Technology in his honor. I don't know if the arrest of party executives in Karaga and Golu is talk. That is action, and this is according to the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, who was reacting to concerns he and the police have done little to curb acts of vigilantism. He spoke with Evelyn Tema in Accra.
Between January and October 15 this year, cases of attacks by pro-NPP groups have been recorded, with the recent ones being an attack on the district chief executives of Karaga in the northern region and Sisala West in the upper west region. The Interior Ministry and other security officials have been blamed for their inability to deal with the issue, but the sector minister disagrees.
I have issued definite directives that police commanders responsible for various areas where there are acts of vigilantism to either get the culprits, bring them to book, or be sanctioned. That is the arrangement now.
On the floor of Parliament Wednesday, the minority leader asked the minister to take action.
It is not enough to condemn. It is only adequate to punish. And all you hear is the Minister for Interior say henceforth. What henceforth?
Well, I don't know if the arrest of party executive in Karga and Gulu is talk. That is action. As I speak to you today, we've got some of our members who have been convicted. What do they have to show us? We have evidence that we have sent anybody who has committed offenses to court.
Some police officers have complained on various media platforms of political interference as reasons why they are unable to fight the menace.
If they know any politician that is making it possible for them to do their work, it's left to them to come forward and state who they are. In any event, they will be sanctioned, and they should know that nobody is going to save them from that sanction.
Well, a section of national service personnel are rejecting a newly introduced insurance for them. Per the policy, an amount of 15 cedis will be deducted from each of the over 91,000 personnel posted this year. Now, this means each national service person would have paid an amount of 135 cedis by the end of 9 months service period. This works to 12,402,585 cedis, which will be paid to insurance company Glyco. But a section of personnel are not happy, insisting enough consultation was not done. My guest in the studio will help us to take a look at this issue. Edna Awuti is a public relations officer of the National Service Personnel Association. Good afternoon.
Hello.
And Vincent Asifua is a former NASPA president. He's going to speak for the NSS and also, told you earlier, former president. Let's start from here, Edna. Your people are not happy about the deduction. The argument is that you did not consult them enough.
You know, when you talk about consultation, it depends on the context in which you take it from. Looking at our association and considering the structure of the association, the National Executive Committee is made up of 7 executives. And when you talk about consultation, people are literally trying to say that we should have come down to talk to all the total number of service personnel across the length and breadth of the nation, which of course is not possible.
Before you went to Congress to agree on this, were there consultations at the various districts?
Yes, that is what I'm trying to explain to you. Our structure is such that at the district level, we have representatives. So when you start your national service, during a general meeting that is conducted, that is where you elect your executives.
Right.
And then subsequently, you have your first general meeting whereby you meet all the national service personnel and then you deliberate on issues. You find out what their interests are, what their challenges are, what their concerns are. Now, these district executives whom the national service personnel have given their mandate to represent the various districts at the regional level.
So if we say, Edna, I'm sorry, I referred to you earlier as Edna. You are Edna.
Yes.
If you say that the district coordinators are to get to...
it starts from there.
Right.
District executives.
Okay, so I want to say that
regional executives.
You are saying that the district coordinators perhaps did not inform the service persons. The executives did not inform the service persons on the ground.
I'm building a point.
Because of time.
Yeah, but let me go ahead. So then from the regional level you meet, that during Congress, and Congress is made up of all regional executives across the nation, all 10 regions. So when Congress takes a decision, Congress is the highest decision-making body of the association. Now, Congress is so powerful that when we take a decision, not even the scheme can revert it. Now, the only...
Edna, hold on. I'll let you go on. Now, Congress will take a decision, but the national service personnel at Hui must be consulted. How is that done?
That is what I'm trying to...
No, how is that
I'm
done?
coming. What I'm trying to explain to you is that right now there has been a transition from one service group to the next service year. So what we have to do now is to interact with this current year of service personnel and educate them and make them understand why we came up with this and what the...
So the service personnel are right that they were not consulted.
Sorry?
You are yet to do that.
They were consulted. As I'm saying, there has been a transition. Even though they're the same group of people are the district executives or regional executives, there have been a transition. So then if they are raising some concerns, we can, at the end of the day, we can still go back and then listen to what their concerns are.
You have not answered my question. Were they consulted?
Yes, consultations
were
made.
You say you have consulted. Visa, let me come to you. Per the National Service Policy, persons posted to various entities are also covered by the welfare packages in those entities. Why then is there the need for another insurance scheme?
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to your cherished viewers. Let me put it on record that as a government and as a management of the National Service Secretariat, we have not introduced any national insurance policy for national service persons. Again, it is worth noting that this national service insurance policy is a sole project from the National Service Personnel Association when they went for their Congress. This is a constitution of the National Service Personnel, which I signed to when I was the president. Right. It was promulgated during my time, and the framers and the draft of the constitution at the time realized that there are some challenges with some service persons when you go down to the villages. You made mention of the fact that what about that service person in the village, was he consulted? Consultations are being done through district elections.
So they are now being done?
No, they are done. But the fact is that they have district executives. The district executive, per our constitution, is supposed to be elected by the various service persons in the various districts. And so they become the spokesperson for the association or for the various service persons, because you see, no national service executive can say that consultations can be done across the various districts in the country, irrespective of where you are posted to. For example, if you are posted to Zabzugu Primary Senior High School, or Zabzugu Primary School, how is the National Service Personnel Association going to consult you from that level? So consultations are being done when they elect their various district executives, giving the power by the Constitution to make decisions on their behalf. So their voices are being heard at the regional level, and the regional level also make sure that their voices are being heard at the Congress.
So the regional level is yet to get to perhaps the last service person on the ground. That is what I am getting.
They have done their Congress on the 25th. They have done that.
It's been done.
It has been done.
Every service person in this country is aware that at Congress, NASPA was going to agree that 15 cities was to be deducted from the allowances.
Absolutely, because you see, per the definition of consultation in the tenets of this
Vincent, give me a minute. Those who are alleging that they were not consulted, why are they saying that if they had been consulted? Yes, you, Edna.
Okay, what we are trying to say is that consultations were done in the sense that per our constitution, I am a national executive, and per our constitution, decisions are taken during Congress whereby all regional executives represent their region. So then they come with the concerns.
I get that, but I was only asking that those who are complaining that they were not consulted, and you know your service persons are complaining that they were not consulted, and I want to know if you are aware why they are complaining, if you say they have been consulted.
Congress was held on 22nd to the 25th of May, 2017. That is why I drew your attention to the fact that there has been a transition. 1 year of service group has left the scene, and there's another year of service group that are currently working. So we still have more work to do with regards to education and communication.
That's the point. So the point is that not every service person has been consulted.
Can I say something? You know.
Okay, if you don't want to answer that question, that's okay. Vincent, let me come to you. I was asking earlier that if service persons posted enjoy welfare packages at various institutions, why is there the need for another insurance package?
There is a consensus, or there is some sort of unanimity as to the relevance national service insurance. When I was NASPA president at the time, there were several instances that I had to speak to Dr. Pesa White at the time, that I have some requests on my table as a NASPA president. Some of our service persons die in line of their duty. Some of them have some sort of deformity in line of their duty. For example, that agri student from KNUST who was posted to Ejura farms will be exposed to some bites like snakes or whatsoever. In my time, we have to make sure.
It was not covered by the welfare package at the Ejura farms?
I do not think so, yes.
But are you aware the service scheme per the Act allows persons posted to various institutions to be covered by the welfare packages of these institutions?
But the welfare packages will have to make sure that there is some sort of a fund that will take care of that. And in the sense of the various NASPA executives, at the time that when I was there, I remember we made some giant steps with Enterprise Life at the time. We spoke to them about the need for us to have an insurance policy for our service person, because there were a lot of pressure on our coffers whereby we had to take money from the national coffers to support our service person without any insurance policy. So bringing out such a policy was something that came from the national service persons themselves without any sort of influence by the NSS or government. I realized that most of the volunteers who are talking about the fact that they were not consulted are chastising government and NSS. Let me put it on record. From my experience, maybe she is not aware. Okay. The people who contested them are the same people who are trying to bring out some of these issues because of politics, or as it were, because they lost to them. Now again, some of these people who are bringing up these issues are, for example, probably from pro-NDC, because they are already members. See, they are already members of the National Service Persons.
We have to wrap it
the Constitution of the National Service Persons.
I'm grateful.
So you do not need any qualification to be a member of the National Service
is a former NASPA president. He's also speaking on behalf of the National Service Scheme. Edinam Awiti is a public relations officer of the National Service Personnel Association. Gentlemen and lady, grateful for your time with me. Business is next.
The business segment is brought to you by
First, on the log, government's drive to create jobs has always come with questions of sustainability and fair treatment. For these reasons, some individuals have started questioning how the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan would address unemployment in Ghana. Our reporter Godfrey Tanam was at the media launch of the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Week and has come through with this report.
One of the major campaign messages in the 2016 general elections was whether the government then had done enough in creating jobs. Then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo told Ghanaians job creation was his priority, which has been identified as one of the reasons for his electoral victory. President Akufo-Addo in July this year launched the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan with the promise that new businesses will emerge and given the space to grow. The CEO of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, John Kuma, says the program designed for every Ghanaian is intended to get both the employed and unemployed to develop their business ideas.
We are not looking for party colors. I have consistently stated that. You don't even have to tell us what party you belong to. We are not interested. We are looking at ideas. What creative ideas do you have on job creation? What innovative business idea do you have? Engage us with your ideas and not on your party colors, and you receive the support.
CEO of Africa's SME organization, Yawa Sama, noted the program will give support to individuals who have good business ideas.
We'll be giving funding in equity, soft loans, and also another funding mechanism will be business support. Then we'll be offering training to traditional SMEs, incubators, accelerators, and trainer of trainers.
The National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, NEIP, is a flagship policy initiative of the government with the primary objective of providing an integrated national support for startups and small businesses.
Some savings and loans companies are anticipating an increase in their minimum capital requirement from 15 million cedis to 50 million cedis, with the central bank's deadline of December 2018 for banking institutions to fully meet the minimum capital requirement. How ready are banking institutions for mergers and acquisitions?
Mergers and acquisitions will soon become a common phenomenon within Ghana's banking industry, especially with the central bank increasing the minimum capital requirement of most of the financial institutions, talking about the universal banks as well as the microfinance companies. Well, for the savings and loans, they are yet to see exactly what the minimum capital requirements would be raised to, but they've already started seeing measures within that particular sector of the banking industry, talking about the savings and loans. The recent measure we're hearing of is that of Bayport Financial Services and CFC. Ghana's central bank in September this year raised the minimum capital required for banks from 120 million cedis to 400 million cedis and 500,000 cedis to 2 million cedis for microfinance institutions. These are part of measures to ensure financial stability. While some financial institutions are open for measures, others are simply not ready.
If you ask someone how much is your company worth, it's very difficult for them to determine the value of the companies. But few companies have come around to assist us to value our companies and also to even finance the measure in case they are willing to do it.
With 15 million cedis minimum capital requirement, the savings and loan sector is geared up for measures. One of such is Bayport Financial Services and CFC Savings and Loans.
We are coming from the same parentage. The shareholder is the same. So coming together, merging the two companies became easier, a bit easier, and there wasn't much a problem. What I see is that there will be mergers and acquisitions, but because owners are different in the different organizations, it might be more challenging trying to make sure that you converge.
According to the Bank of Ghana, banks and other financial institutions have up to December 2018 to fully meet the no minimum capital requirement. Already, some institutions are showing signs of readiness for measures. FBN Bank is one. Others simply do not have the financial muscle.
It's very difficult for them to determine the value of the companies. But few companies have come around to assist us to value our companies and also to even finance the measure in case they are willing to do it.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has disclosed that the central bank has received some proposals from banks pushing for measures and takeovers following the announcement of the new capital requirements. This means that any banking institution that has not met the new capital levels could lose its license to operate in the country by December 2018.
Arrived in the sense that we still have impunity in the system. When vigilantism continues to be there, where people show people where power lies, law and order sometimes breaks down, and people think that they are above everything. We have not yet arrived. People shop at the Roma, lazy, you know, this was ramblers.
You don't want to miss Reverend Kwikwa Sante singing that tomorrow, in place of hot issues, will bring you 2020, part of TV3's 20 years anniversary. This is Midday Live. We're stepping on a break. When we're back, there is sports.
November 23, the Queen of Denmark will make an official visit to Ghana as we move from aid to trade. Join the Media General platforms online, on radio and on television as we bring you in-depth coverage of the Queen's visits.
If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3 News GH for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3 News GH and at 3 Sports GH. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3 GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
For anything and accept it in good faith.
3 days to the final eviction show and contestants are ready to put up their best. Though a do-or-die affair, their chaperone, Bubune, who is a former contestant, says there is no anxiety.
It's no more scary like before because we've made them to understand that this is a beauty pageant. Whoever goes home does not mean you are not a winner, but it means that you are strong enough to be in the finals. But just that certain issues had to come up and then there will be eviction. This week is just unfortunate for me that there will be no chance for anybody to prove themselves. But I think it's rather going to push them to come out from their comfort zone and do their best.
She said all 5 remaining contestants are used to eviction after surviving 5 evictions.
Everybody has made up their mind. If it is me, I will go. If it is not me, I will stay and do my best. So everybody's like, whatever will happen should happen. That's their mind. But they just want to put up the best show ever and then allow everything to happen in their own place.
Bubune again explained that the weekly Most Disciplined Award is a collective decision and not by a single person.
It is a collective idea or result that we put together from the producers and the people who train them at the rehearsals. So how well they are able to relate to each other in the house, how well they are able to take issues. All those things are into Most Discipline, and it is not the chaperone's job alone pick who is most disciplined.
Meanwhile, judges say they're looking for an embodiment of intellect, eloquence, and a strong personality to represent the Ghana's most beautiful brand.
All said and done, we're looking for a beauty queen. And this queen must be able to speak intelligently, must have poise, must be an all-rounder, must have good knowledge of our norms and traditions. So if you come and recite something and you don't own it, we know that you haven't learned anything.
Right.
When you were coming into the house, we knew that you didn't know everything, but you've been given an opportunity to learn. So if you come and stand here and you recite and you miss your words, that tells me that you didn't learn anything, because if you learned it, you'll be able to say it without memorizing.
5 contestants remain in the competition, but only 4 will make it to the grand finale. Who will it be? Ghana's Most Beautiful 2017, straight out of Ghana.
Time for international news.
That there will be chaos if he is barred from standing in the 2021 election. President Lungu said the judges should not be a copycat of Kenyan judges who plunged the country into crisis after annulling President Uhuru Kenyatta's victory in elections in August. Mr. Lungu's eligibility for the poll is being challenged by critics who argue that he is serving his second and final term and cannot stand for re-election. They say that the period he served after the death of President Michael Sata in 2014 counts as his first term. Mr. Lungu's supporters maintain that he merely finished his predecessor's term and he has been serving his first term since his victory in the disputed 2016 election.
Thanks so much for your time with us. As we told you earlier, in place of Hot Issues tomorrow, we're bringing you 2020 with Reverend Professor Kwekwa Asante tomorrow. Don't miss that.